guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how I decorate some moustache cookies. I did two different versions, a vanilla sugar recipe, which I used Hanny's sugar cookie recipe for. I'll put links below. I also did a chocolate version, but I used the black cocoa powder because I wanted the moustaches to be really dark, so there'd be some that I didn't have to ice. Kind of made my flour go a bit grey, but it's fine. So I used the Preppy Kitchen chocolate cookie recipe for this, but I replaced the normal cocoa powder with the black cocoa powder. The dough for this one's quite soft, so I had to roll it out between two pieces of parchment paper or greaseproof paper, and then I refrigerated it to cut out the cookies. So I have a moustache cookie cutter, and I use this on both the vanilla ones and the dark ones. With the dark ones, I could press indentations into them before I cooked them. I didn't bother with the normal vanilla ones because I knew I was going to decorate those. So once they're all baked, and I will put links, guys, to the cookie cutters I've used below the video, as well as the recipes or where you can find those recipes, I stick the fondant or sugar paste, as you might know it, onto each cookie with a little bit of royal icing. So I use that same cookie cutter, so moustache cookie cutter for the moustaches. And I'm just going to draw some lines into that fondant while it's still soft. So I've done a few of them in white. I am going to use other colours as well, just so it looks like hairlines. So this white one, I'm actually going to turn into a rainbow coloured ones. And you can paint with loads of different food colours. Now, I actually used these Sweet Sticks palettes. There's a rainbow palette that has all the colours you need on. I didn't have the rainbow one open, so I used some out of this palette, and then I used some powdered colours as well. And I tried to paint each stripe that I'd drawn into the moustache in a rainbow colour. So I am going to do some more natural coloured moustaches as well, in like browns and gingery kind of ish. But it is Pride Month, and I thought it would look great to have a moustache in rainbow. So these food colours that I'm using, they are food colours, obviously. They are edible and they're just water activated. The powder ones that you can see on my right hand side, those ones I haven't mixed with water. I've actually mixed them with dipping solution, but you can use clear alcohol or lemon essence. But in the palette, just the water is all I need to mix that in with that. Now, I actually really like the rainbow moustaches. I think they're a little bit different as well to going for a sort of more natural coloured moustache. Now, the next rainbow one, I'm actually going to have a bit of a play around with glitter, and I'm going to stick this to my cookie with piping gel. You can use edible glue if you prefer, but I've got some piping gel, which is pretty much like sugar. I'm just going to paint it on one stripe at a time and then pour glitter onto that one stripe of piping gel and then sort of flick it off onto my paper. By doing it on paper, I can fold the paper and then I can put the remaining glitter back in the pot so that I'm not wasting it. And then I'm going to repeat and do the same with my next colour. So you'll notice, guys, that I have put fondant on the cookie first. I thought if I put the piping gel directly onto like the naked cookie, it might make it go a bit soggy. So a layer of fondant on first, and then we're putting the stripes on with the glitter. The yellow glitter seems to be quite strong in colour, but each time just make sure you're tipping that glitter back into the pot, or all the extra glitter back into the pot. And just keep going with as many stripes as you can fit on. You might find that you have to use the same colour more than once. There we go. I quite like that one. Which do you prefer, guys? The glitter one or the painted one? And you can keep all your moustaches rainbow themed if you want, and just have a bit of a play around. On this one, I'm just playing around with blending the different colours together. So onto the more natural coloured ones. Again, still using that same moustache cutter. And it's up to you whether you want to roll out the fondant first and then put the lines in it before you stick the fondant on the cookie, or whether you prefer to stick the fondant on the cookie using your royal icing and then put the lines in. I'm going to say it depends how heavy-handed you are. If you're very heavy with the lines, you might snap your sugar cookie, so just be careful of that. And you can twist the ends of the moustaches up a little bit as well. So these moustaches that look different shapes, I actually used the same moustache cutter, but when the dough was soft, I bent it to the shape that I wanted it. So that's why some of them look slightly different shapes to the others. That's still the same cookie cutter that I used. But this one I'm having to use a different cutter to cover it. So I've used the circle cutter for this one. So let's go back to the normal cutter. Let's just try it where we press in with the cutter all the way down to create little lines. And then I'm going to use the far end of the moustache to kind of take little chunks out of the bottom. And I'm just going to neaten that off a little bit with my Dresden tool. And then we can stick that on. And play around now, guys, with different colours. So you can use dark brown fondant. You could add orange to make it a little bit more gingery, a bit of white to lighten it. So this one, we're changing the shape on it a little bit. Still the same cookie cutter, but can you see we've bent it to fit a different kind of style of moustache, which was still using the same cookie cutter for the cookie itself as well. And lots of lines in there. And of course, if you prefer it without the lines, you don't have to add the lines. You can see I've had a bit of a play around with a white moustache as well. And then if you want a bit more detail, you can use your edible pens to draw the lines on to make them even more obvious. Now, as well as moustaches, I've also done some bow tie shaped cookies and some hexagon ones because I thought these would make really nice Father's Day gifts. I know my dad likes cookies, so he's getting some of these, I think. And on these ones, I've just cut out some blue fondant with the same hexagon shape, and I've used the Sweet Stamps letters and just pressed them in to get my word in, and then I'm just decorating it or finishing it with an edible black pen I'm using to just go in the indentations of the letters, and then I've just drawn a little moustache under the name. You could stick it on in fondant if you prefer a 3D moustache, and then some little lines so it looks like stitching going around the outer edge. So for our bow tie cookies, again, you're going to use the same cookie cutter that you used for your cookie. And then I'm just putting an indentation either side of the knot in the middle of the bow tie. And then an indentation kind of coming out so the bow looks a bit more 3D. So you can see like a crease in it at each side. And then I'm just going to pen on some little moustaches. I'm going to keep them fairly simple shapes. I was going to go for a different sort of variety where each moustache was a slightly different colour and shape. But I thought it was going to take too long, especially if you're making a few of these. So again, with these hexagons, have a bit of a play around so you can add different wording. Just make sure it fits within your hexagon. And those letters that I pushed in, they are plastic, so I have to pull them out. They just leave an indentation. We'll put some more stitching around. I think maybe we should make a little bow tie to go on the bottom of this one. So 2 triangle shapes with a little line in for the indentation and then a little sort of oval in the middle. And I'll come back to colouring the letters in on that a bit later. I'm going to do it the same way I did on the other one. Now, this time with my blue, I'm going to try texturizing it. Now, this is a knitted texture, but I didn't have any other fabric kind of ones to hand. So this will do the job for the bow tie. It's just so I can have a play around, really, with different types and see, you know, which I like best. Like, do you guys prefer the plainer bow ties or the ones with a bit of texture? Sometimes it's nice to have a mix. So I'm just going to go back and finish that Father's Day cookie with the lettering, colouring the lettering in. And you can add shading to your cookies as well. So you can keep them flat as one colour. On this one, what I've done is mixed some dipping solution with a bit of the powdered food colours. And I'm just painting that on, and you'll see it's quite runny, but it's going to run into all the little indentations from the texture mat that I used. And you can do that on the ones that have got lines in as well. You can see it running into the deep lines and making it look a little bit darker and a little bit more shaded there. And I just wanted to show you guys, these were the ones that I made with the chocolate cookie dough, where I used the black cocoa powder just to darken it. Now, I did actually use a tiny bit of normal cocoa powder as well as the black cocoa powder, because I didn't know how chocolatey the black cocoa powder tasted. But you can see with these ones, you can play around with the shapes. But I didn't need to ice them because of the colour afterwards. So they're ideal if you're not wanting to eat like fondant or royal icing. So we'll just have another go with another one. So I'm just going to take some triangles out the bottom of this one just to try and change the shape of it and make it look a little bit different to some of the others. And then let's just draw the lines going straight up on this one. And you don't have to do every single one of these, guys. I just wanted to show you a few different ideas that you could put together. So I'm just drawing a line up the middle, really almost separating the two sides of the moustache on this one. And then some lines on there, but not too many. Now I'm going to put some edible glitter on. So it's piping gel that I've just spread onto the fondant part. I've tried not to put it on the cookie just in case it makes it go soggy. And then just see if you can tap off any extra of the edible glitter. Do make sure the glitter is edible, guys. You don't want to be eating actual plastic on your cookie. So you can see we've done quite a few different ones. This one, dark brown, white one. Just play around with the edging as well, just to give yourself different textures, different styles. And don't forget, you can still use that same one moustache cookie cutter, and when the dough's wet, you can play around and pull the moustaches into different shapes before you cook them. And the bow ties, I really like it with a moustache pattern on, actually. So that's the cutter that I used for that one. I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Let me know if you want to see more cookie videos. I know I haven't been doing very many cookies until recently. So let me know, do you prefer to see cookie videos or buttercream cakes or even the 3D cakes, guys? I'd love to hear what you prefer and I can get working on them for you. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, be sure to hit the thumbs up button and leave me a comment below. You can see more of my tutorials by clicking on the images on screen now. If you haven't already, make sure you click the subscribe button to stay up to date with my future tutorials. There are also links in the description box below where you can find me on Facebook, Instagram and more.